Listen to this nightmare fuel. This is an anglerfish. Deep sea varieties have a bioluminescent light that dangles in front of their mouth to aid in luring prey deep down in the dark depths of the ocean. Their mouths can be lined with teeth that give a truly terrifying appearance. I think we can all agree that the monster in Iron Lung was clearly inspired by a deep sea anglerfish. But what if I were to tell you that the inspiration didn't stop with just the appearance? Are you ready for some real scientific horror? Female anglerfish are much larger than their male counterparts. 3 separate families of anglerfish reproduce using a method known as sexual parasitism. The male will attach itself to a larger female permanently by biting into her skin. Over time, his tissues and circulatory system begin to fuse with hers. The male will lose his eyes, fins, and many internal organs, depending entirely on his mate/host for sustenance. The two will become one. The male will remain ever present within the female to provide sperm to fertilize the eggs the female will produce, ensuring the survival of the species. That is some very disturbing scientific elements to add to our fiction. Let's dive in. Brace yourself. Spoiler warning, because a movie review without spoilers is just hype.
I see that question in your eyes. For what purpose do we remain alone in the dark?
Beginning the descent. Cruising depth in roughly 2 minutes. Stand by.
I ask myself that very same question.
I'm seeing some voltage irregularities on the instrument, so keep an eye out for sparks or flames or anything like that.
Why would there be flames? You did test this thing, right?
This is the test.
In the dark and distant future, an event takes place that will later be referred to as the Quiet Rapture. All of the known suns and known habitable planets vanish, leaving only the men and women on board space stations and spaceships unfazed. What has happened? On a distant planet, what appears to be an ocean of blood has formed. Resources, manpower, and hope are all in short supply. An investigation is underway using the available spare resources, convicts for manpower, and scrap from the remnants of a spacefaring civilization to build a research submarine. A convict, in an effort to reduce his prison sentence, has volunteered to navigate the vessel and map the uncharted, unknown floor of the ocean, looking for anything of interest. I enjoyed the movie. Full disclosure, I saw this movie opening night at 7 p.m. and it was only me and a group of 4. The group of 4 walked out of the movie during the build-up section. That's about halfway point through the movie. They were not happy. I overheard a woman ask, "Did you know this was based on a video game?" And the guy replied, "No, but I don't think I'll ever play it." This movie is not a good promotion for the video game. The beginning is great. The build-up is boring. The big reveal is confusing. The ending is good, but kind of left me feeling down and bleak. Let's close the hatch and prepare to descend. In the beginning, a convict is welded into a research submarine and tasked with the objective of checking some points of interest on a map provided. He navigates the unknown ocean, plots points on his grid, and begins his mission. Each point he investigates, he takes a picture. His final destination reveals a large sea monster skeleton. His sonar begins to flash and beep as an alarm notifying him that there is something in the proximity of the vessel. The ship is rocked. The convict is thrown around, bouncing inside of the metallic cylinder during the skirmish. The ship settles. A voice comes through the intercom, demanding to know the structural integrity of the ship and to gather further information on what has just happened. The voice tells the convict they have received the images and they are going to bring him up. The man is terrified, but relieved as the depth gauge shows he is slowly ascending. He is brought on board a ship, still inside of the research vessel. The woman in charge of the operation talks to the convict through the porthole. She periodically squeegees the blood that consistently is flowing down, covering the window. The convict has found something big, but the researchers require a sample. The convict protests that he has fulfilled his obligation and is ready to be released from the vessel. He is informed that he is welded inside. Time is of the essence. You must do this. You do not have a choice. Feeling scared and ignored, the convict hits the camera button to get everyone's attention. Inside the craft is a screen that illuminates the images captured by the camera. It shows a bunch of skeletons standing around. The convict is scolded and reprimanded. He had unknowingly exposed everyone outside of the vessel to dangerously high amounts of radiation. This is not a normal camera. A normal camera cannot take a picture through blood. This is a specially designed X-ray camera. The convict returns to the coordinates where the skeleton was found, feeling discarded. Thinking this is a death mission, he finds a piece of paper telling him to cross the wires on the broken computer interface in the submarine. He arrives to find the skeleton is no longer where it previously was. Command tells him the ocean is rough and things are constantly shifting and moving around under the tides. Keep searching around the area. The convict finds the skeleton, but not only has it moved in position, it has now moved in form. He is told to ram the creature to obtain the sample, and that is when things get weird. The beginning of the movie is great. The isolation, the eeriness, the slow drip showing where a poor seal is somewhere around the vessel. Blood is just slowly dripping all around the ship. This effect and feature progress as our story does. They really nailed the submarine vibe. Mark Fishbach, Markiplier, delivers a great performance. Written by, directed by, and starring. Triple threat. I liked it. He acts very natural. He has very good camera presence. The build-up is really boring. There is that lost at sea psychosis starting to kick in. During the sample retrieval, his ship is attacked again and everything goes dark. The convict has to restart the ship's engine. He has to crawl through a claustrophobic inducing tight corridor to access the restart panel. He hears things. He sees things. He is not alone. He is being haunted by the ghost of the ship. Or is it just the phantoms from his past? We learn his backstory, that he was part of a nihilistic group called Return to Eden, responsible for sabotaging and destroying a space station. That is the crime that has landed him here, the captain of a submarine on a death mission. The group was responsible, but he tried to stop them, only to be blamed for their actions. The underlining theme of choosing hope reemerges. In the past, he was part of a group that felt all is lost. We should just burn it all down. He tried, but failed to stop them. He fought for life, for hope. I wonder if that theme will continue. As we get closer to the big reveal, more insanity builds. The convict is hearing voices over the radio. He is suffering from pains in his head. He believes he is concussed. He is lost. He chooses hope. He wants to live. Is that all that bad? He begins mapping out this unknown area. He discovers another vessel. His computer tries to download files from this other vessel, but he lacks the clearance to allow the process to continue. A mysterious voice comes over the intercom and gives the convict the coordinates to a great light. It even knows his name, Simon, even though he never shared it with her. He races to the coordinates. The fish monster looks like an angler fish. I wonder if it's attached to this great light she speaks of. The big reveal is weird. There is a little bit of like the Eye of Sauron, a talk or meeting with God. It seems demonic. The convict rises out of the ocean of blood. A man asks him if he will give up everything for life. The convict shows compliance, and the strange demonic entity says, "Deal." The convict wakes up on the floor of his submarine. Command is coming through the intercom. The convict is in disbelief. He had broken the intercom earlier during one of his fits of psychosis. He examines the intercom. It's no longer broken. Command asks the convict, how is he still alive? He should have ran out of air days ago. This all leaves the convict even more confused. He states he is ready to leave. Command says they cannot risk anyone else's life on salvaging him. The convict begins to vent his frustrations about the expedition. He talks about hearing voices and finding another ship. He recants the name of the ship. The captain repeats him. How does he know about that ship? That is classified information. Command strikes a deal with the convict. If he can recover the files from the other ship and meet them at the rendezvous point in 30 minutes, they will pick him up and he will have his freedom. The convict moves with haste to the coordinates of the vessel he earlier discovered. The end is good. Blood has been dripping into the submarine the entire movie. At this point, it has built up to a horrific amount. The blood has been dripping along the ceiling, over the pipes and wires. As it drips, it seems to be leaving behind some kind of residue. The wires and pipes are beginning to look vascular and biological. The walls of the vessel have blood seeping in from what appear to be open wounds or sores. The metal vessel is becoming organic. The blood burns the convict's skin if it touches it. Parts of his body begin to look swollen and infected. His body is beginning to merge with the clothing that cover it. The convict downloads the files and rushes to the rendezvous point. Command emphasized the importance of these files. This could save the rest of humanity. The convict retrieves his ship's black box and safely secures it to a flotation device. During this process, he makes the mistake of touching the walls. His hands bond and merge organically with the walls. The blood is causing anything that touches it to become organic and to merge. He is able to pry one hand from the wall successfully, but during the removal of his other hand, his arm disconnects from his body and stays attached to the wall. Command comes in over the intercom, only for the convict to hear something going horribly wrong. The mysterious voice cuts back in through the intercom and asks how many more people have to die for him. Blood is pouring into the vessel. The fish monster goes to eat the submarine. The built up pressures and gases. Something causes an explosion, or rather an implosion. Either way, the convict dies and the fish monster is destroyed as well. The convict chose hope in the end, doing all that he could to get the important documents to safety. The movie ends with a life vest and the black box attached, beeping, floating on top of the vast ocean of blood. What a hopeless ending. As soon as it was revealed that the camera was taking x-rays, I was like, well, that skeleton is probably more than just bones then, you know? The movie teased this reveal for far too long. It was a decent to good movie, probably still a one-timer for me. I don't think the Quiet Rapture backstory was necessary at all. This could have been just a research team studying an anomaly found, and I think it would still have the same tension and suspense. If anything, the silent rapture blankets this entire movie in despair. The ending is just sad. I guess the video game ends very similar in the fact that the vessel is just destroyed and the player dies. That is sad. The emitter is just floating in this vast blood ocean, For who exactly? The command ship that was going to retrieve it is lost. Does anyone else even know about this? What was the point? The point was what you do when all seems lost, because when all seems lost, all you have is hope. The movie doesn't end feeling hopeful though. If a spotlight or something would have shined down onto the floating black box before the cut to credits, it would have at least given the audience a feeling of, hopefulness. I left the theater wondering if anyone would ever find that black box. Not a good feeling, but again, it is not a feel-good movie. What are your thoughts? Have you ever played the video game? Would you recommend it? Like I said, the movie does not give me any inclination at all to play the video game. I'm sure it is scary and suspenseful. I bet it is also pretty repetitive and boring at moments too though, right? I like the underwater in space concept. At one point during the big reveal or right before leading up to it, a reference to the firmament was made. Submarines and spaceships are interestingly similar. One is designed for extreme pressure, the other for the opposite, a void of pressure. It's very interesting. Well, this has been a Mushroom Clouds and Romance new movie review. Until next time, my friends, farewell.
No, please save yourself.
For what?
For me. Because I love you. And I must kill you.
A crazy kid.
What is